So I'm sitting here in my apartment, looking at the court papers scattered across my IKEA coffee table, and I still can't believe this all actually happened. Like, if someone had told me 6 months ago that I'd be suing my own parents and winning, I would have laughed in their face. But here we are. Let me take you back to the beginning. I'm 25, working my butt off at a marketing firm downtown. Not some fancy Wall Street gig, but decent enough to afford a one-bedroom in Queens and still have money left over for my weekend. Starbucks addiction. I'd been saving up for a down payment on a condo, had about $30K stashed away, feeling pretty good about adulting, you know? Then one Saturday morning, my parents show up at my door. Not unusual. They live about 45 minutes away in Jersey, but something was off. Mom's clutching her Coach purse like it's a life preserver, and Dad's doing that thing where he won't make eye contact. "Sweetie, we need to talk," Mom says, and my stomach just drops. In my family, "we need to talk" is never followed by good news. Turns out they'd racked up about $75,000 in debt. Credit cards, personal loans, a HELOC on the house, the works. How? Well, apparently keeping up with the Joneses isn't just a saying. Mom's been shopping at Nordstrom like she's married to Jeff Bezos. Dad's been playing golf at the country club every weekend. And they've been taking these ridiculous vacations. Cancun, Hawaii, even a Mediterranean cruise last year. "We're drowning," Dad finally admits, still staring at my hardwood floors like they're the most interesting thing ever. And then comes the kicker. Mom, with her perfectly manicured nails and fresh highlights, says, "We need you to take out a loan. For us. Just temporarily. We'll pay you back in a few months when we get our finances sorted out." I'm sitting there thinking, are you for real right now? These are the same people who lectured me about financial responsibility when I wanted to buy a used Honda Civic at 19. The same people who made me work at Subway all through high school to learn the value of money. "How much?" I ask, already knowing I'm not going to like the answer. "50,000, Mom says, like she's asking to borrow $20 for gas. I told them I needed time to think about it. Big mistake. They started calling me every day, sometimes multiple times. Mom would cry on the phone about how they might lose the house. Dad would guilt trip me about all the sacrifices they made raising me. "Remember when we paid for your college?" "Yeah, Dad, I remember. I also remember paying you back every cent with interest, which you insisted on." After 2 weeks of this emotional warfare, I caved. I know. Biggest mistake of my life. But they're my parents, right? I went to my credit union, took out a $50K personal loan at 12% interest. My credit score is now crying in a corner, and handed them the check. You want to know what they did the very next week? They posted pictures on Facebook from Turks and Caicos. While I'm sitting here with a $900 monthly loan payment I can barely afford. I called Mom, furious. "Oh, honey, this trip was already paid for months ago. It would have been wasteful not to go." The following months were pure hell. I had to pick up freelance work on weekends just to make ends meet. No more brunches with friends, no more spontaneous Target runs, definitely no more saving for that condo. Meanwhile, they kept living their best life. New golf clubs for Dad. Mom joined some expensive Pilates studio. They even had the audacity to invite me to dinner at Ruth's Chris, and when the check came, they forgot their wallet. The breaking point came when I asked them about the repayment plan. Mom literally laughed. "Oh, sweetie, we're family. We'll work it out eventually. Besides, you're young. You have plenty of time to rebuild your credit." That's when I knew I was done being their personal ATM. I found a lawyer through a coworker. This badass woman named Patricia, who specialized in family financial disputes. She took one look at my case and said, "Girl, we're gonna nail them to the wall." We sued for the full amount plus damages. My parents thought I was bluffing at first. Mom called me crying. "How could you do this to your own parents?" Dad tried the tough love approach. "We're cutting you out of the will. Buddy, what inheritance? You're 75K's in debt." The court case was intense. Their lawyer tried to argue that it was a gift between family members, but Patricia came prepared, with text messages, emails, and even a recorded phone call. Legal in my state, thank God, where Mom explicitly said it was a loan they'd pay back. We won. The judge ordered them to pay back the full $50K plus my legal fees and interest. Guess what? They couldn't pay. Shocker, right? So the court garnished their wages and put a lien on their house. Updated. The aftermath was brutal, not gonna lie. My extended family basically split into two camps. Team parents tried to guilt trip me hard. My Aunt Carol, Mom's sister, called me a heartless monster at Thanksgiving. My cousin Jennifer posted some passive-aggressive meme on Facebook about family loyalty. But then there was Team Me, which surprisingly included my grandmother. Nana pulled me aside at Christmas and said, "Good for you, sweetheart. Your mother's been living in Fantasyland since she was 16. She even slipped me a check for $5,000 to help with my legal fees. Love that woman." The forced financial reckoning hit my parents hard. The court-ordered payments meant they had to actually look at their spending. Goodbye country club membership. Goodbye weekly mall trips. Hello, reality. Mom had to get a job for the first time in 15 years. And not some cushy receptionist gig. She's working nights at a medical billing company. Dad had to sell his precious golf clubs and that ridiculous boat he barely used. They downsized from their 4-bedroom colonial to a modest apartment. But here's the wild part. They still tried to maintain appearances. Mom told everyone she was working because she was bored at home. Dad claimed they sold the house because they wanted to simplify their lifestyle. The delusion was real, folks. Meanwhile, I was slowly rebuilding. Those garnished wages started coming in monthly. I picked up extra clients at work and even landed a promotion. Within 6 months, I'd paid off a chunk of that loan, and my credit score was finally crawling back from the depths of hell. The turning point in our relationship came when I ran into Mom at Wegmans. She was comparing generic cereal prices, something I'd never seen her do in my entire life. She looked tired. For a second, I almost felt bad. Almost. "Hi, Mom," I said, keeping it neutral. She turned around, and I swear she aged 5 years since I'd last seen her. "Oh, hi, sweetheart." We stood there awkwardly between the Frosted Flakes and store-brand cornflakes. Finally, she said, "I never thought you'd actually go through with it." "I never thought you'd actually go to Turks and Caicos with my loan money," I shot back. She winced. We were stupid. Your father and we got caught up in keeping up with everyone else. The Bahamas trip that the Johnsons took, the kitchen renovation the Smiths did. We just wanted to fit in." "At my expense," I reminded her. "At your expense," she agreed quietly. That conversation didn't magically fix everything, but it was a start. They were finally seeing the consequences of their actions, and I was seeing them as flawed humans instead of just my parents. But the real kicker? About a month after that grocery store encounter, I found out through the family grapevine that they'd been telling people I was helping them through a rough patch and that taking out the loan was my idea. The audacity. I immediately sent a group text to the entire extended family with screenshots of our original conversations and the court documents. Nuclear option? Maybe. Satisfying? Absolutely. The response was immediate. Aunt Carol called to apologize. Cousin Jennifer deleted her Facebook post. Even my Uncle Tom, who hadn't spoken to me since the lawsuit, texted me, "Sorry, kiddo, didn't know the whole story." Updated fast forward to now, and life's looking pretty different for all of us. My parents are working, both of them full-time. Mom's at that medical billing company, and Dad got a job at Home Depot. Not exactly living the dream, but they're finally understanding what it means to earn their money instead of spending mine. The monthly payments have been consistent, I'll give them that. Every month, like clockwork, I get that garnishment deposit. We're about halfway through paying off the original loan, and my credit score has bounced back to decent territory. I even started saving for that condo again. The family dynamics are complicated. We're cordial now, but it's not the same. How could it be? They showed me who they really were, and I showed them I wasn't a pushover. Thanksgiving is awkward. Christmas is tense, but we show up. We make small talk. We pretend things are normal-ish. Mom's learned to coupon like a boss. Dad's become weirdly knowledgeable about different types of lumber. They're living within their means for the first time in probably decades. Their apartment is nice enough. Definitely a step down from the house, but it's clean and paid for with money they actually earned. Sometimes Mom will text me pictures of sales she found or meals she cooked at home instead of eating out. It's like she's proud of these tiny victories. Part of me wants to be happy for her, but another part remembers those Facebook pics from Turks and Caicos while I was eating ramen for dinner. Dad's more subtle about it. He'll mention how many steps he got in during his shift or complain about customers like any retail worker. He seems humbled, maybe even a little embarrassed. Good. The best part? I'm thriving. That promotion I mentioned led to another one. I'm now senior account manager, making almost double what I was before this whole mess started. I've got my emergency fund back, my credit cards are paid off, and that condo just put in an offer last month. My therapist, yeah, I got one. This whole thing was traumatic, says I need to work on forgiveness. Not for them, but for me. I'm trying, but it's hard. They stole more than money. They stole my trust. You can't garnish wages to get that back, but there have been moments, like when Dad texted me happy birthday at midnight just like he used to, or when Mom sent me my favorite cookies in the mail for no reason. Small gestures, but they matter. Maybe. We even had dinner together last month. Nothing fancy, just Applebee's. They paid with their own money. We talked about safe topics, the weather, my job, Dad's weirdest customer stories. It almost felt normal. Almost. The irony? They're probably happier now. The stress of maintaining that fake lifestyle is gone. They don't have creditors calling. They're not juggling bills or maxing out cards. They're just living within their means. What a concept, right? I've learned so much from this experience. About boundaries, about standing up for myself, about the difference between helping family and enabling them. Would I do it all again? In a heartbeat. But ask me if I'd lend them money again? Not a chance. Final update. It's been a year since the court ruling, and we've reached a weird equilibrium. The payments will continue for another year, then I'll be whole again. My parents and I have dinner once a month now. We even laugh sometimes. Mom gave me a birthday card last week that said, "Thank you for teaching us a lesson we should have learned long ago." Inside was a $100 bill, not court-ordered, just a gift, from money she earned. I actually teared up a little. They're talking about getting a financial advisor when this is all over. Better late than never, I guess. As for me, I closed on that condo last week. First thing I bought, a really nice lock for the door. You know, just in case they get any ideas about showing up needing another loan. Lesson learned, bridges rebuilt. Kinda. And boundaries firmly established. Sometimes you gotta sue your parents to save your relationship. Wild, right? But that's life. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a housewarming party to plan. And yes, my parents are invited. They're bringing a side dish that they paid for themselves.